Hey guys, Kelson Batch Security Survival. Today we're going to talk about best disaster apps to stay ahead in a survival situation. Let's do this. Alright guys, number one on our list is the Army Survival Guide. It is 164 megabytes and it costs $1.99. Most of these that we're going to talk about today are free, but some of them cost money, but we looked through them and we bought some of them and they look like they're worth the money. So Army Survival Guide is 1,400 pages, basic survival, evasion, first aid, recovery situations. Very informative and very huge app, and it's very beneficial in a survival situation. This app alone has a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today, but just not as in detail of some of like the first aid apps and stuff like that. Number two on our list is called the 72-hour app. It's 58.7 megabytes and it's $1.99. Again, these are active, or these are go-to BOB app survival list. You can break the list up into a winter list and a summer list and an EDC. That way you're always rotating your supplies and you're never forgetting an item. Or you can look through your list if you want to add something and make sure you don't already have it. So it's, you don't have to sit there and open your bag and go through everything like, oh, I didn't have it, or I do have it. So very good app to have. Number three is Disaster Alert. It is 15.1 megabytes. This app is free. Active hazards worldwide. So you can see, earthquakes, tsunamis, I think my biggest thing for it is, an earthquake or high pressure systems coming in near where you live. But earthquakes around the world can affect the areas that they're at, and then it can eventually affect you depending on your location. Number four, which does have a downside, is Google Earth, 37.5 megabytes. This, of course, is free. The only downside to it is you're going to need some type of GPS or signal for it to tell you your GPS location for you to get to the nearest road, or if it's mainly an app for you're in the wilderness and you're lost, but how often are you gonna have a signal in the wilderness? So it's kind of a downside, but still something good to have on your phone. You just never know if you're gonna have a signal or not. So maybe you do, maybe you don't. Number five is Pet First Aid by American Red Cross, 47.8 megabytes. This is also free. I think this is a good app to have if you do have pets, because most people that are in a survival group or have a plan don't necessarily have a vet on standby or in their group. So maybe that's something you add, so you don't have to worry about it, is you add a vet if you do have animals. But this app is going to make sure that you kind of give you a basic survival standpoint on how to fix your dogs if something's wrong with them. Number six is Triage Health. It is 50.4 megabytes. This is also free. This is a lot of health solutions. It was created by two ER physicians, so not some just dude sitting in his basement researching stuff, putting it on an app. So very reliable information. It's kind of what's wrong with me? What do I need? Where do I need to go to get it? Obviously, you're not going to have where do I need to go to get it. You're not going to have a lot of locations if the world does start collapsing, but still a great thing to have, because health is probably one of the biggest downfalls of survival situation unless you have doctors and nurses on standby. All right guys, to continue our list, we're at number 7 is First Aid American Red Cross. This is just for normal human stuff, not the pet one. It is 39.6 megabytes. It is also free. This is a step-by-step for common first aid. It's the American Red Cross, so it's reliable information, kind of help you through medical situations if you don't have a nurse or doctor on hand. Number 8 is Keir's A to Z, 18.6 megabytes. This is also free. These are just natural remedies, which I think are very important, because you're going to have a lot of natural things around you in a survival stuff, unless you're, I guess, completely urban, which sounds terrible, but this is good. If you're out in the wilderness, it can kind of direct you towards, what what plants, you know, heal a headache and, you know, that kind of stuff. So definitely a good app to have. Number 9 is Knots 3D, 72.9 megabytes. It is $1.99, but it's worth it. It's a step-by-step of a 3D of making knots. So this is good because when it comes to trapping or tying things up, the kind of knots you have make a big difference in whether it's, you know, it stays where you want it, or, you know, you catch an animal and it stays there because it's not gonna come undone. So definitely a very good app to have. Also useful in, you know, just your everyday normal life. Number 10 is FEMA app, 6.3 megabytes. It's free. It's just, you know, a how-to checklist. Kind of gives you updates on natural disasters, kind of more information about FEMA. I know FEMA, you know, a lot of people aren't a fan of FEMA, but the app itself is very useful. 3 apps that did not make our list but are also useful is CPR choking. It is a 12.8 megabyte. It is free. EMS BLS Field Guide, 25.5 megabytes. That is $5.99. It's a little pricey, but it's definitely a good app. That's why I didn't make our list. Medical Herbs, it is 13.4 megabytes, and it is $1.99. These are still 3 good apps. If you have the space and you're very deep into survival, I would recommend downloading all 13 of them. You know, obviously some of them are going to cost you a little bit of money, but it's completely worth it when it's, you know, your life in danger. All right, guys, that completes our list today for the best survival apps to stay ahead. Keep in mind that some of these apps do require signal, and you're not necessarily going to have that while you're out in the wilderness. Also, all the apps we talked about today are on iPhone. Most of them are on the Android platform also, but some of them aren't, but there's similar apps that are just as good. So keep that in mind. Also, you're got to think about, you're using your phone, so you're going to want to have some type of battery backup or solar power or a chargeable source to keep using these apps. So if you guys think we missed anything on our list and we should add something, let us know in the comments down below. And until next time, make yourself ready.